On his 1% Better podcast, Joe Ferraro said, if my podcast went away, I'd be sad. And if my podcast never made a dime, I wouldn't be mad. Today on the Sales Life, I want to pull on that thread of thought because I want you to find that place that you create, not because you're paid for it, but because you're made for it. If you're tired of settling, then we better get to selling. Welcome to the Sales Life. All right, TSL, let's get it. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Life. I am your host, Marsh Buice. And today, by happenstance, is a trilogy of podcasts. And it was strictly by accident. And today's episode 659, bookends episode 657 and 658. In episode 657, we talked about getting into the flow of making a decision. And getting back into that flow will help you develop the confidence. And you develop that confidence not because all the decisions went your way, but that you were able to recover from some of those decisions. Maybe it wasn't the right timing for that decision. Maybe you didn't have all the facts until it was revealed after the decision, but you still made a decision. In episode 658, we talked about putting in the reps, and the tone is in your fingers. It doesn't just take time. It takes time to develop a tone that will be as unique to you and will resonate with others in your creatives. And whatever that creative is, my creative is the podcast. Your creative may be through writing, it may be through painting, it may be through positioning yourself as an online expert, it may be from teaching. I don't know what that creative is for you, but whatever it is, you make a decision and you develop that tone, and it's going to take some time. I have younger guys that come to me and they say, man, I wish I could sound like you. It's taken me 23 years to develop that tone. When I first started like you, I sounded like you. And it took time, and through the reps and through being persistent, hard on myself, yet patient that it's going to take time, the tone began to take shape. And today, now that you've made a decision, now that you realize it's going to take time to shape and develop this tone, I don't want you to pick something just because someone else is making a bunch of money on it. Just because someone else is Instagram famous and you see their baller lifestyle and you think, oh my God, I'd love to have that. Because that's not going to take you very far. I want you to find that sacred place in your life, like Joe Ferraro and myself have been blessed to find, where you would do it for free because it's the essence of who you are. Many of the results that we want it to be monetary. And we tend to make our decisions based on how much we're paid. I remember I lasted a whole semester in nursing because I heard that registered nurses made a bunch of money. It didn't work for me. So I didn't last very long. And that's a common thing that we do when we're trying to kind of find ourselves. We tend to chase the money first, but then we end up swirled into something that is not where we want to be. And we burn a lot of energy. And we feel a ton of regret because we're like, shit, I chose the wrong path. And this is something that I hope that you'll find. Maybe you know exactly what it is immediately. And maybe it's something that you'll have to develop over time and you'll stumble into it. It wasn't until things fell out in my life that the Sales Life podcast fell into my heart. It was something that was always in the back of my mind. I wanted to do it. I just wasn't provoked enough to do it. I always thought that I needed the perfect scenario, the soundproof room, the special lighting and special cameras and special microphone. I thought I needed all that to get started. No, I just need to get started. I had one of my coworkers come up to me the other day and he said, I'm 48 now. What would you tell yourself when you were 38? And I said, start. He was like, what? I said, start. Period. Just start. Don't think that you have to have it all in place. Don't think that it has to be a perfect scenario. Just get started. I wish I would have started the podcast 10 years ago. But the next best time was in 2017. When I echo the thoughts of what Joe said, if I wasn't paid a dime, I wouldn't be mad. It's not that you just do it all for free. It's having the flexibility and the wonder of where starting this may lead. Because I don't know where the sales life is going to take me. But I know the sales life has now become that vehicle that is going to take me in places that my employer never could. See, if I were looking to profit from the sales life monetarily, I would have quit 600 episodes ago because few were listening, very little feedback. It's like I was just talking into a black hole and I made no money from it. As a matter of fact, it cost me money. But it's been worth everything because I've profited in so many other ways. So let me tell you many ways that I've profited that are intangible. If you could cut me open and I could spill that out in emotion and energy, I wish I could. But I can only put it into words. The first way that I've profited from the sales life is I made a decision. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to go. But I made the decision because in my lowest, darkest moments, I was at the bottom of the rung. I was demoted. I was bankrupt. I was broke. I was dark. I was suicidal. I had to hear from me. And so I decided this is the vehicle that I'm going to be able to hear from me. And once I decided, it brought me consistency. Because every day I had to force myself to sit down and spill out my thoughts. And it could be just one page. Just fill the page. Doesn't matter what it is, just fill the page. And I started being consistent. It was the only area where I was consistent in my life. I was now committed. When I started, I said, I'm going to publish a podcast every day, 5 minutes. And see, I set the bar so low that I kind of tricked myself into doing it. I said, you don't have 5 minutes, Marsh? You can flip on a microphone for 5 minutes. You can talk about anything for five. You don't have 5 minutes? Yeah, I can do that in 5 minutes. And it tricked my mind because actually it took me hours to come up with a 5-minute episode. But it was very therapeutic in me doing that. The fourth way that I've profited from the sales life is it's clarified my thinking through the writing, through the consistency, through the decisions. Every episode, man, I'm more and more clear. And it's the bands have gotten wider in my life where it clarified my thinking in relating my thoughts behind a microphone, but it also has spilled out into my personal and professional life as well. And I don't know what it is, about every 25 to 50 bands of episodes, I kind of look at them in bands. It seems like my thinking is a little more clearer. I profited also from the sales life and being able to communicate better. Not only behind the mic, but also in my life as well. Because I don't ramble. I know exactly where I'm heading. And I'm very decisive in what I do now. The sales life has also made me more creative. The creativity as I spill out my thoughts, it always kind of get like cutting against the grain, right? So cutting against the grain of wood, it causes it to kind of splinter up. That's what the creativity is for me. So as I write, I kind of cut against the grain of life. I don't just work in statements. I ask questions. I'm fascinated about what I read and what I learn and what I come across and how the dots can connect. And I'm always looking and how can I distill this in such a way where I can break it down into my own life. Fascinated by that. I've profited immensely from the sales life because it's made me more courageous. And if you go from episode 1 and walk all the way through 658, if you have an afternoon to do so, you'll be able to hear my journey of my fears and my worries, times I wanted to quit, times I wanted to give up, times I was alone, broke, $11.81 in my account, and had $10,000 in obligations. And I remember exactly where I was when I recorded that episode. I remember what was going on in my life. It's proof of how courageous I've been. But it's also proof too, because I've archived it into an audio library of sorts. It's something that my children will be able to go back and listen and be like, Dad, I had no idea. The courage was also revealed that I was bold enough to put my lowlights as well as my highlights out into the universe. I wasn't going to hide behind Mr. Have It All Together. I don't have it all together. I'm frustrated. Some days I want to quit and give up. But I keep soldiering through, man. And you know what? That's just the tip of the spear. It's hard for me to fully relate to you how the sales life has literally saved my life, changed my whole life. And that's why it's so sacred to me. And that's why I want you to find that place too. It's a special place where if it was taken away from you, you would be sad. And if it didn't do anything other than fill you with gratitude and hope and fulfillment, if that's all that it did, that would be fine too. Because it's the essence of who you are. And that is something that no one can ever take away from you, no matter what's going on in your life. And I want you to find that, whatever it is. And the intensity of what the sales life is for me, it may not be that sort of intensity for you. It's okay. It's yours. This is mine. And it's sacred. And I want you to find that place too. That no matter what is going on in your life, it's a shield for you that kind of protects you and fulfills you that no one else can touch. I've had many different areas like this, not just the podcast. For me, running is one of those. I didn't discover running until I was 40. And I had a need to get my life together, get my health together. So running was one of those areas, very sacred. It was my sanctuary away from everybody else. Sales has been that way for me for 23 years. It's been one of those areas that is sacred. When all hell was breaking loose in my life, sales was always right there. Even when my personal life was crumbling, I could still make a difference. I could still work on my craft. I could still use my creativity. I could still affect other people's lives, even when I felt like I was losing mine. And I discovered that when I was 25. See, there are going to be different stages in your life, and you may be able to add these things to it. And then I discovered the sales life when I was at the bottom rung in life. The only person who was there for me was me. So I had to hear for myself. I was 44 when that started. So don't give me the excuse, oh, it's too late. It's never too late. And so now everything kind of spills into the sales life. The sales life is the lead driver, the amplifier in my life. But the running pours into that. And the sales pours into that. So much so that I named the podcast The Sales Life. Because I really believe that you can take these sales skills, even if you're not in the sales profession, and use them to never settle in your life again. It's all these creative energies that you have that I want you to find in your life. In the song 10,000 Hours, I love what Macklemore wrote. You put in the hours and look at what you got. Nothing you can hold, but everything that it is. That's something you can't verbalize. It's an energy. It's an essence. It's a fabric of who you are. It's sacred. What is that sacred thing for you? And I want to hear from you. I got a brand new way that you can do that. The website, marshbuice.com, is live. M-A-R-S-H, like swamp. Buice, B-U-I-C-E. It's like juice with a B in front. Marshbuice.com. There you can find all the episodes. At the top, you'll find the links of where you can connect on whatever social that you hang out. And also on the right-hand side of the page is a microphone where you can leave me a message. Your voice comes directly to me. And I'd love to hear from you on how your progress is going. Would you recommend the sales life to someone else? This will show your support, but also help grow the show. The only way that we power this show, and the only way that we can get it out to others, is through you. So your voice matters most. With that, remember, the greatest sale that you will ever make is the sale you want you, because you're more than enough. Stay amazing. Stay in the sales life.